is the worst time Boyka's been beaten. My first day in prison. Boyka was faced with bullying from the leader. The prisoners get out of the way. On the head of the bear, Kier relies on a slightly muscular body. On the newly arrived prisoner. He didn't think he'd run into a tough guy today. The Channel is a boxer. The street snack is lawless underground fighting. He quickly neutralized each move to strike back strongly and decisively. But the Channel ignored a grim reality. This is a prison where the strong eat the weak. It's no different than a primitive forest. The prisoners are hungry like wild animals. I just hate not being able to swallow him alive. A sharp, cold blade piercing blood deep pouring into the waist. The vulture is resilient, based on his extraordinary will. Just in time to drop the enemy's weapon, the other prisoners rushed into the attack him in a wheel-drive fashion, in the face of constant attack. Like the hungry wolf of the crowd. Even if the body is strong, it's hard to avoid being torn apart. The prisoners put your mouth down the stairs and stomped on his back with all his might. A week later, the jaw part of the canal recovered quite well. But the white teeth can no longer be kept. To save cost, the doctor attached him some steel teeth. Nothing, even if it looks weird, but it adds some grim parts. Realize that to survive in such a harsh place, it's not enough to rely on strength alone. So he stepped up his training. Not just train a solid body as good as copper, but I also forged a strong will. Nothing can shake. But the prisoners here seems to have a deep-seated grudge against the Channel. Every few days, they tried to mess with him. 2 prisoners blocked the head and tail of the dagger-wielding guy. The other guy had a homemade handgun ready. Learn from last time. The Channel is no longer open. Want to survive? Then he's forced to throw punches through the bones. I heard the guards rush to me. Don't need to know, right? Sending them back a little bit of dead baton. Bring up Channel people. Not only that, the judge is bound. The Channel is fully responsible for this. This is only because the Kier people are hurt worse than him. The screaming Channel justifies those guys wanting to kill him. He's just acting in self-defense. But the judge, I don't accept any explanation at all. Follow the rules and increase the Channel. 1 year in prison and 2 months in solitary confinement. What the hell do you understand? During his time in solitary confinement, be fully prepared for the bloody battles to come. There is only a strong will. We can help him get out of the box. Out of solitary confinement. The Channel no longer evades the provocation of barbarians. He's trying to accept the physical pain. No matter how much abuse you have to endure, all channels will be refunded. The prisoner's got a tattoo. He's been hit by a canal. My breath is pounding. He told the Channel that this is not a matter of personal resentment. Some people have spent a lot of money to take his life. But what the Channel didn't expect was, the one who wants his life is his brother. There are more and more people in the flesh. Take the life of the Channel. In a series of bloody battles, the Channel was tortured to decay. Deformed face no longer recognized. Revenge is the only thing that keeps the Channel alive. How deep the hatred is, after all. And the brother was cruel enough to spend a lot of money to murder his brother. It has to go back 5 years. Originally, Channel was a boxer. Despite the heat of the moment, but he's a good citizen. Always comply with the law. Ken's brother, the name Lincoln is the exact opposite. Is a notorious boss in the area. He runs a criminal gang that smuggles wheat merchant and interest loans. In a boxing match, Lincoln wants Ken to settle for the loss, but Ken with his integrity won. That Lincoln and his men lost a lot of money. Ken doesn't care about that. On the contrary, he borrowed money from his brother. He noticed a boxing gym that was about to go bankrupt. Want to buy back to continue business? But a small amount of money is needed to earn my brother's trust. The Channel even wrote a business plan. The company believes this is a solid business. If you have a word, I refuse. Lin Tung, he says he has his own rules. One of them is never for relatives to borrow money. He refused immediately. But he's a businessman, so even my own brother is no exception. You can borrow money unless you do me a favor. If you want to borrow money, do something for me. What should I do? 2. Then Channel to office of 2. Second in the gang. In that boxing match, 2 also made a $7,000 bet. The whole gang has a bad opinion about the Channel, but because he's the brother of Cal, so people just get angry and don't talk. 2 take out a package. At PM, a woman named Metal. I'm going to the office to pick up a small item. Lincoln wants the Channel done. That's the secret. Followed the woman home and stole the package. Think about illegal activities. That's what my brother is doing. Channel guesses that inside the package. It's not a good thing. But because of his entrepreneurial dreams, still agree with him. I never thought this little thing would take me down. Deep without bottom. After PM, the woman with the package left. Ken made at the request of 2 cap on and snatched the woman's bag. Who suspects the woman is persistent? Ken on the streets. At the end of a crossroads, she was hit by a car and died on the spot. Ken, I never thought it would turn into a murder. He stood there stunned. not knowing what to do. Just then the police arrived. Immediately escort Ken to the station to await trial. The woman who died at the age of 49 was the mother of 3 children. She was in a car accident after chasing the channel. Plus stealing the channel. He could go to jail for a few years. Unless he goes to court to testify against his brother. Turns out the police were secretly investigating Lincoln. Long time ago and know their criminal methods. They're lending heavily to teenagers for a small amount of money. Make sure the debtor is unable to pay. Then they went to the debtor's house. Asked the deliveryman to deduct the debt. Usually they will agree. Then the criminals give them a package. Say inside is flour or money. Just deliver it to the designated location to clear the debt. But this is actually a trap. Because criminals will send someone to steal the package. You can't pay off old debts and add new ones. And then they'll just take the money. Granted and appropriated their According homes. To the police investigation, more than 150 families were injured. They're driven to homelessness. Children become orphans. It's all Lincoln. Just channel Bear to court to testify that his brother had directed him to steal the package. This criminal gang can be dismantled. The channel claims to know nothing about Lincoln's work. Did so refuse to cooperate. I see he doesn't know. The metamorphosed cops put the channel in a room, handcuff him, get behind his back and start torturing him. He's obviously got his own style of interrogation. It's very different from the sheriff, usually in the office. Of course, this is just his personal preference. The police chief didn't know. But no matter how brutally tortured, the channel is determined not to sell out his brother. So the court charged the channel with manslaughter and criminality. They sentenced him to 5 years in prison. Then Ken found out he'd been sent to Belmez, the most notorious in England. It's a place full of killers and matches. What's worse is that the AI here wants to take his life. Ken couldn't understand why he'd rather be in prison. Not selling out my brother. My brother wants to kill me. To survive, Ken is forced to turn himself into a villain. Every day he has to fight. And fight the killers. In these bloody battles over and over again, the canal lost a front tooth. The face is almost destroyed. And he's fighting for himself. Prison sentences are increasing. Until one day the channel's mother visited him. They hadn't seen each other in 3 years. It's not that your mother doesn't want to visit. He's in solitary confinement every time he visits the canal. I saw my son become weak. The old mother was greatly distressed. The channel wants to tell you, everything I suffered was caused by my brother. But the words haven't finished yet. My mother announced the news. A few months ago, my mother found out she had cancer. Because of chemotherapy, the channel is often in solitary confinement. This may be the last time you two will see each other. My mother told me not to worry about her. Because Lincoln took good care of her. Back channel tears. In the hurt your brother caused you. I can't say raw anymore. Your brother takes care of you every day. What were you going to say about Lincoln? I'm glad Mr. Lincoln took care of you. Yes. My family are all warriors. A few months later, my mother became very ill. He was paroled one day to visit his mother in the hospital. There's a police escort, but he's still a step late. The doctor said she passed away this morning. But because the channel's here, the police are the exception. Let him see his mother's face one last time. I looked at her lying peacefully on the white channel gavel. Is no longer connected. He's determined to use the rest of his life to exact revenge. So on his way back, he started working. After a series of powerful punches, 2 prisoners fell unconscious on the spot. But the handcuffs are still locked on one of them. Probation officers are scared. Hurriedly throw the key, used the key to open the handcuffs, and then used his famous headshot to defeat the officer. Probation after successfully escaping from in front of an ATM. A man of similar stature comes to withdraw money. The channel switch changed the man's clothes. A few days later, the channel went to Lincoln's bar. The doorman refused to let him in. Because this is a membership-only place. Channel does not say much, launching a series of defeat both of them. Then he went to the bar. Tell the bartender to get me a drink. It's up to some gang members. I was chatting in the bar. They're talking. Talk about one of their juniors being killed 2 days ago. Lincoln has ordered a curfew for the gang. No one goes out at night. When I was killed, I knew that. Do you know who did it? A boy named Tuna witnessed the whole thing. According to him, that night selling psychedelic mushrooms on the corner. Suddenly there's a stranger standing across the street, staring at them. I want to teach that person a lesson. But one arm was cut off. Also, he had just taken his tools and chased after him. He couldn't catch up to the streets to run away because that crazy guy's running so fast. When he came back, there was blood everywhere. You can't see the broken arm. It is clear that Trent is lying. And then Ken told me another version. The first half of the story is true. Ken stood in the dark, using the predator's gaze to stare at them. I want to get rid of Ken. Ken reveals the milling cutter hidden in his sleeve. Suddenly cut off an arm. I was afraid to piss out my pants and let my friends run away, not wanting to be ridiculed by others. So he did. Make up stories to make yourself a tough guy. DR was angry. But he doesn't understand if Ken killed their people. Why dare to blatantly come to their territory? At the right time, the doorman came to the bar to attack. Ken was undeterred, unleashed a series of powerful blows, both of them again. And then he pulled out his two-barreled hunting gun, shoot a shot into the sky as a warning. The thugs had to drift aside. Then he forced them to tell him where Lincoln was. Two sounds from the office coming out. Yelling at the students' SAO is noisy. When you see the channel too, realize that the situation is not right. But in his memory, the channel is not this format. And he's still in prison. But the truth is in front of you. There's no doubt about it. The channel has escaped. The bastard is back. Come back to take your life. Who is Lincoln's brother? Did you see his face? Sure. He had wonderful days in prison. I have to have a small meeting. While changing bullets, one tried to rush in and grab the gun. But he didn't think it was wrong. He broke his leg in a second. The rest of us are scared. Ken asked everyone to pick up the phone, go out and put it in a glass jar full of water, even if threatened with life. But the gang members are still bitter about Ken killing time because his testimony did not match up with that of Tuna. He tried to be tough and not admit he was lying, until the canal takes out a black plastic bag. Inside is the severed hand. But this is just an appetizer. Ken's ultimate target is his brother. He told them to call Lincoln. Meet him at the bar to talk about recent events. Then Ken hastily hung up. 20 minutes later, Lincoln knocked on the door. Ken uses a gun to order the bartender to open the door. Lincoln led Theo through some tough boys. Clearly, he still doesn't know what happened. Until I saw my dear brother. With pathetic appearance. He didn't expect the two of you to meet again. In this situation, the channel is full of anger. But now is not the time to break out. Weapons and phones are on the bar. He gave orders to Lincoln, and his men delivered the phones. Take off your pants to confirm you're not armed. Tell everyone to stand in a line. Give them one more drink, please. I can't believe you're not a great guy anymore. I remember when you hit me a lot. That's the past. It's different now. He doesn't know. Unconscious, then channel checked. The doorkeeper's breath seemed to have died. Lincoln's Jr. said he was killed by the channel. They don't know what these two brothers are doing. The channel recounts what I went through. For the past 7 years I've lived in the shadow of violence. I never knew where the danger was. The enemy is AI. I've been stabbed 6 times. I don't know how many broken ribs. And the scars on his face are all Lincoln's. But Lincoln had his reasons. He planted his men in the police department. It's the corrupt cop who tortured Ken. Savage years old. That cop said Ken told us everything. That's why Lincoln was determined to kill Ken. You're an idiot. Evan pierced your nose like a monkey. You'd rather believe a corrupt cop more than my own brother. The corrupt cop who sold out fake information. Let him know and profit from it. Lincoln was also fooled. But he'd rather believe a corrupt bureaucrat more than trusting your own blood. He even offered a reward for his brother's life. This debt can't be ignored so easily. Lynn still doesn't believe he was fooled, so asked to call the police. Metamorphosis comes to confront. But he's not good. I know after a successful escape, the first thing the channel does is kill that cop. To this country, Lynn still tries to advise the channel to turn the shore. Too many people have died this week. Let the old thing go. I arrived 20 minutes early that day. I still hold your hand and say I love you. What about you? Where were you? What business is important? More than my mother's death. But makes me feel guilty. Who takes care of you day and night? That's because you put me in jail. It's your fault. You dragged me in and you wanted me dead. Look, I know your life isn't easy. But you can stop right now. You can start over. You're free now. The channel became what it is today. It's all because of Lincoln. I dragged him in and left him in jail, waiting to die in the canal. Beyond hate, I have a problem with Mrs. Meadow, and families destroyed. He wanted to use his own way, demanding justice again. Give them too. Said those people were supposed to be parasites. I just want to escape death. I don't regret what I did. There was anger in Ken's heart, and he fired a 2-shot bullet to the head. Lincoln was also angry that they were his business partners. Ken's shot is like poking a hornet's nest. There's no turning back. But Ken never thought about turning around. Before you face your brother. Then he destroyed Lincoln's business empire. It turns out Lincoln's an accountant. He had all the evidence of his crime. Include each coin in the account name. Fine too. The accountant used his family's life to intimidate him. Force him to split the money in his account. For the families of the victims. Just left for Lincoln £1,500. Your name is not a saint. But during his time in prison, the sight of him stealing, the old man's murder haunted him forever. The names of more than 150 families have forever become a source of pain. He knows it's too late to save himself now. But maybe he can save the families of those victims. So when the sheriff came to the channel again, convinced him to turn Lincoln in, the channel finally agreed. He has one condition. He wants to go to the hospital. Look at the dying mother's face. That's why he was paroled. But he couldn't see his mother one last time. After his mother died, Lincoln, I am not around because I am busy doing business. Ken has 7 hopes for his brother, so he chose his own revenge. But he's only targeting Lincoln. That's the order to die channel. Except Lincoln. Anyone who wants to leave can leave. But the Cure thugs don't know how to live and die. Dare to speak out loud and say that you want to be together. Was like that. Today, either they die or he dies. A great battle is about to break out. The bartender snatched a bottle of wine under the counter. When the channel doesn't pay attention, the war officially began. The bartender took his weapon and threw it all on the ground. The kids quickly split up. A crowd rushed towards the canal like a madman. Ken's been through countless battles. Even the ironclad hands can cope. In Belma's prison, blood wars like this are just a matter of Ken kept swinging his baseball bat. He alone is like a strong wall. I think the show shows itself. The poor man's skill to the maximum. He pretended to open the door and run back to the gun. But he shot too bad to hit the target. On the contrary, he shot his partner. The angry channel threw a wooden stick and rushed up and knocked out stole the submachine gun, shooting at the enemy until the bullets run out. He grabbed the name of Tian, shattering a glass bottle in his head. And then they're going to throw these powerful punches. Take out the other 2. However, avoid public attacks. But it's hard to avoid a sneak attack. A guy caught an extra dagger. When the channel slammed into his belt, the channel has hardened with pain. It just makes him more resilient. He didn't take the knife and killed Kier. The last one tried to resist, so Ken didn't hold back. He broke his arm and hit him in the head with an iron bar. When you solve the problem, it's your turn. Lincoln was holding a hunting gun. Looks like he's got the win. Ken asked one last question. Why did you treat him like that? Lincoln doesn't pretend to be in this country anymore. Years ago, whether Ken turned him in or not, he couldn't let Ken survive. Because if you don't, in the future, no one will be afraid of him. Lincoln held up the gun. I found no bullets in the gun. That's the price we pay for being wrong. Make others do dirty work for you. Not even the bullet in the gun. After a bloody battle, there's no doubt Ken took the knife and killed it. Let your brother die in your arms. On the part of the bartender who has repeatedly helped the channel, he didn't make it difficult for her. Sorry for ruining everything here. Pay back the enemy. The channel's life also entered its final moments. He dragged his limp out of the bar. Finally collapsed on the side of the road. Before a little breath, he's finally thinking about the 150 families of the victims. Each family will receive £1,500. The value of a film lies in its reputation. The value of a movie review lies in the feeling. Today's story ends here. Thank you for watching the movie. How do you see this movie? Please comment below.